So for today's lesson, we're going to be focusing on imagery and allusion. We're going to talk about the definitions and what those mean, and then we're going to see if we can set ourselves up well to apply them to the second part of the box man. Table of contents here, imagery, allusion, and then how and what you want to do when you're identifying them in the reading. Pretty straightforward, but make sure that you come back to any of these if you have any questions. So we'll start with the imagery. Imagery, the definition is descriptive language that evokes the five senses. And so what is descriptive language in the text that brings up any of the five senses for you? So that would be sight, taste, sound, touch, or smell. Now, the common misconception here is that it's only sight. People see imagery, the word image is literally in the word, and so they think, oh, it's just whenever they paint a picture. But that's not it. It could be describing what something sounds like, what the smell is in the space that they're at, what something feels like. All of that stuff would fall under imagery. A couple quick examples for imagery. The aroma of fresh bread wafted through the air, so you're getting the smell there. Even years after the war ended, I could still hear the battle cry. That's definitely a sound. Reference to sound doesn't have to just be a picture of what the war was like. And then her hands were coarse and brittle. Coarse, of course, meaning rough. Brittle, meaning it kind of like breaks like easily. And so you can tell that her hands are a little beat up here, a reminder of a difficult youth. And so like that would be how her hands feel. But the descriptive language is imagery nonetheless. And so it's not just what you can look at. Now, for allusion, an allusion is an indirect or passing reference to a person, place, or thing that exists in the world. And I put the parenthetical here, whether real or imaginary. Something that's imaginary can still exist in the world. So take any story. Take a ghost story. Take, I don't know, Casper, the ghost story. Casper is a fictional character made up, but they exist in the world. And so because Casper exists in the world, I can make a reference to it. And so even though it's imaginary, it still exists. So I hope that makes sense. Things can be imaginary, but still be real things in the world. Now, this is not to be confused with illusion, with an I. Illusion is a deceptive appearance or impression of something. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but just to make sure you're not combining both of those definitions in your head. So an example of an allusion, a reference to something that exists in the world. It rained so much we thought we might need to build an ark. This is, of course, a reference to the story in the Bible, Noah's Ark. If you don't understand the story or the reference, it's going to be very difficult to kind of understand what the speaker is saying. Similarly, don't do it, you'll be opening Pandora's box. That's a reference to Greek mythology where there was I actually think in the original Greek mythology it was a jar and not a box, but that somehow changed in translation. But if you open this jar, or if you open this box, all of these terrible things that are in the box are going to escape into the world. And so we use this today as a quick shortcut to say, don't do that, bad things will happen. But we're actually making a reference to this old Greek mythological story about Pandora who opened the box and unleashed death and all of these violent things upon the world. Now, allusion versus illusion, just as a quick reminder, illusion is something that is deceptive appearance, and allusion with an A is something where you make a reference. So let's say somebody has just been going through a breakup. They might not think most about love and romance. They might not see the value in it, and so they might say love is an illusion because they think it's fake and deceptive. And if somebody is falling in love, they might make an allusion saying, I think I found my Juliet, referencing the story Romeo and Juliet. And of course, that would be a reference, an illusion versus something that is deceptive. Now, when it comes down to it, you got to be able to identify these in the boxman. And so when you're identifying imagery, you want to look for descriptive language that evokes those five senses. And then once you find something that's that descriptive language that is either evoking one of those five senses, ask yourself how and why is the author using imagery? Is there a specific impact on the audience? Is there a mood or a tone being created? Am I to understand that like this is a really nostalgic memory because the author is bringing up all of these childhood sights and sounds that they went through and they're really feeling nostalgic, and they want me to also kind of like go into that nostalgia with them and want and remember the past fondly. Now, when it comes to it, you can still use all of these descriptions. And when you're making your comments about what the imagery is and what kind of mood or feeling you're getting from it, you may want to actually reference back to this description wheel so that you can not just say, oh, this makes me feel happy, this makes me feel sad, but you can use all of those layers of description as you go through. Now, when it comes to identifying allusions, you want to make sure that you're noticing the references that the author is making. And then once you notice them, it's not just enough to say, oh, this is an allusion. You have to ask why. Why would the author reference this particular person, place, or thing? And what does it make me, or what does it make the audience think about this particular subject? And so it's not enough just to find it. You have to also make the comment and say why you think the author is using it. So as you go through the reading, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Once again, my number is 440-670-6979. My email is right there. And if you would like to, I'm available by call, by email, by text. My office hours are specifically Tuesday and Thursday, 1 to 2 p.m. But as I've said before, I'm available pretty much between 8 and 5 p.m. On most days. So hope you are doing well. And if you got any questions, let me know.